Welcome to Midweek News, episode 131, your destination for news in the Linux and open source arena, with a little mainstream news thrown in for good measure. Let's get started. 84% of attacks use legitimate tools. A report from Bitdefender shows that 84% of high-severity attacks are using legitimate tools used by administrators. Among those tools are netsh.exe and PowerShell.exe, among others. An interesting but unsurprising report. You can access the full report from the article. You can jettison the Microsoft Store from Windows if you're in Europe. According to the article, if you're in the European Economic Area, you get the benefits of the need of Microsoft to comply with the Digital Markets Act. Yes, you find Europeans will be able to remove the Windows Store. You can read more in the article, but it may just serve to depress those who don't reside in Europe. RawTherapee Enhancements. RawTherapee is a cross-platform open-source photo editing app designed for processing RAW files. Version 5.12 is adding new tools and enhancing existing tools. You will find support for new cameras in this release, including cameras from Canon, Fujifilm, and Sony. You can find the full release announcement in the article. Photoshop for Android devices. That's right, people. Photoshop is now available on Android devices currently in beta. Note that this is not intended to be a replacement for the desktop version. Still, it could make it much easier for content creators to build thumbnails on the go if you're starting from a picture captured from your Android phone. VirtualBox 7.1.10 is now available. This is a maintenance release. It does make you wonder how many more there will be before we get a 7.2 release. For Windows hosts, VBox Manage utility no longer crashes when invoking the guest control run command. Device switching issues for audio on Windows have also been resolved. For Linux hosts, it fixes issues related to build time dependencies and runtime stability, expands kernel support, and improves the remote desktop protocol. You can find a changelog linked in the article, and you can grab your copy of VirtualBox from the normal locations. Raspberry Pi Imager 1.9.4. Raspberry Pi Imager is the official SD card preparation tool for Raspberry Pi devices. This release brings a refined user interface. The source code has been refactored. On Windows, the team has switched to Inno setup for the installer. macOS benefits from overall build reliability improvements. On Linux, the destination pop-up no longer lists system drives by default. The app image build process has also been refined. You can find the full changelog linked in the article. New Kubernetes recipes available for OpenMediaVault. 4 new recipes available: MariaDB, MariaDB Operator, Poigo, and Firefox. Things are definitely getting more interesting with OpenMediaVault. I hope this is just foreshadowing for what will be coming in an 8.0 release based on Debian 13. Hey there! I'm interrupting your news. I wanted to talk for a few moments about a change that's going to be made with Midweek News. For the duration of the summer, I am going to move this from a weekly to a bi-weekly news program. I want to see if making this move will change the number of views that the show gets, or if ultimately I should be thinking about moving the show to a separate channel. Hey, let me know down in the comments what you think. Or head over to the poll that's still live on the community page and cast your vote there. Currently, the poll on the community page is showing that 50% of those who have voted want to see the frequency moved to bi-weekly. 43% want to see it move to another channel. And the lone 7% want to see it as a monthly news recap. So we are going to try bi-weekly through the end of the summer. After Labor Day, I will reevaluate and we'll see where we go with it in the fall. Don't worry, I will still be doing this show, whether it remains on this channel or if it moves to a secondary channel. And now, back to our news. Sony unveils its first fight stick for PC and PS5. Fighting sticks have existed for PlayStation for many years. This is the first official option coming from Sony that will work on both PlayStation 5 and PC. Unless you game on both systems, I'm not sure what the point of the device is. There have been sticks for PC that have existed for years that use real arcade parts. It will be interesting to see reviews of this device to see how it compares and if it can be repaired. The Nintendo Switch 2 is now available for purchase online. If you have kids, you have probably heard them talking about it. Now the device has been released, we just have to hope that they are in stock when you go to start your holiday shopping. They don't come cheap at $499, but they do pack a punch compared to the original Switch. Wireshark 4.4.7 Security and Bugfix release. This release patches a vulnerability that could allow a denial of service attack. If you're a regular Wireshark user, you have probably updated. For those who have it installed and are only occasional users, you will want to upgrade to this point release. Release notes are linked in the article. We've got more OpenMediaVault updates. A big batch of releases this time around. OpenMediaVault 7.7.9, as well as updates to many of the plugins available for the system. You can find the full list on the OpenMediaVault blog page. LibreOffice 25.2.4 is available with 52 bug fixes. The developers are urging users to upgrade as soon as possible. In fixing the 52 bugs, the LibreOffice development team has addressed various crashes and other annoyances reported by users. If you are still running a version of LibreOffice from the 24.8 series, support ends on June 12th, which would be tomorrow. Fastfetch 2.45 system information tool brings new GPU vendor detection. In the aftermath of NeoFetch being discontinued, Fastfetch quickly became one of the most popular replacement utilities. This release will now detect your GPU vendor. Some bugs have also been addressed, such as a pesky one that plagued MacBook Air users. It will now properly display the model name. A full changelog is available in the article. XLibre Xserver, a revival of Xorg. In the Linux ecosystem, this move was bound to happen. Developer Enrico Vigelt, I probably butchered that name, has unveiled XLibre, a fork of Xorg. While most of the Linux-using world is focused on Wayland, there are those out there who are clinging to the traditional Xorg display server that has served the Linux and BSD world so well. My only hope is that the team that rallies around building XLibre take the time to get serious about addressing some of the security shortcomings of the system, which ultimately led to the creation of Wayland in the first place. Just as the automotive industry is moving from purely internal combustion engines to hybrids and electrics, the Linux world is moving, at least in part, to Wayland. Linux Mint 22.2 will showcase fingerprint authentication app Fingwit. While many in the Linux world just disable their fingerprint reader or don't get through the sometimes complicated setup procedure, Linux Mint is looking to make the process simpler. You will be able to use fingerprint authentication on the login screen of your Linux Mint 22.2 system. Fingwit relies on fprintd daemon, but provides smarter PAM or pluggable authentication modules to detect problematic cases and determine when the system should prompt for a password. The Fingwit app that will be showcased in Mint 22.2 was boosted by Linux Mint's continued collaboration with Framework. Linux Mint 22.2 is expected sometime in June or July of this year. And that, my viewers, will do it for episode 131 of Midweek News. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.